Walthamstow's closure sparked a need for homes for a number of greyhounds on the strength. This was made possible by initial funding of £150,000 from the Chandler family and the GBGB, and the setting up of an additional rehoming centre at Mick Pughes's old kennels in Claver, Hanbury, the Barley Kennels.
We inherited 201 dogs that we needed to home, and obviously that's 201 dogs en masse, shall we say, in one go, which was logistically difficult. But I'm pleased to say we have now got 46 left to rehome of the 201 that we inherited, and it will only be 2 or 3, maybe 4 months before we finish the job and the last one's homed.
It was a big challenge, but one that the guys here and up the road at Johanna's have really risen to. I think the doom and gloom merchants are out in force saying that hundreds of dogs are going to be put down, but thanks, I think, to some substantial funding, a very professional bunch of owners and trainers at Walthamstow, and the tremendous efforts of the staff and volunteers here, everyone can see that pretty much every greyhound has now been accounted for, and that's a really great result.
Of course, you had 201 dogs given to you in one go last time. Now, there won't be that many coming through from Walthamstow if it does reopen. So where else will you get your dogs from?
Well, we're open to offers, basically. Like our money now will be running out very soon. We need finance from the RGT or from the GBGB to enable us to continue what we think has been the good work we've done so far. So really it is an appeal, to all parties to acknowledge hopefully the good facility here and make sure that they support us financially in the future so we can carry on homing. We have been homing 200 or odd dogs a year, and I think it would be a travesty and such a shame if that isn't allowed to continue in years to come.
I really think there's a place in the sport for a rehoming scheme as impressive as this, and I think it would be a real loss if this great facility wasn't to continue its great work. So I hope Barry and the volunteers will sit down with Andrew Higgins, the chair of the RGT, and with Ivor Stocker, the director, and find a way that this branch can continue to operate.
Of course, maybe if Walthamstow was to reopen to racing, then there'd obviously be a steady string of dogs there.
Let's really hope so. I mean, there's some positive noises coming out of the SOS group now. GBGB is looking forward to seeing some substantive proposals from the investors in due course. But yeah, we've got to be hopeful.
Additional funding comes via a holiday home service for greyhounds whose owners are away. Plus, the Barley Kennels is home to a number of paid-for ever-presents. Stars such as Siesta Frisbee and Fireheight Dan here, who are enjoying retirement. The overall cost of keeping a dog before it's homed is approximately £600. How does Barry think that should be funded?
I think it's for the industry to decide. I think that in as much that I think it probably should come from a variety of sources. I think everybody's got a moral obligation to put into the pot. I believe that the owner should be paying a contribution. But I also believe that the contributions should come from all stakeholders, because we all benefit in one way or another. And I think everyone should be contributing.
Well, the RGT cost for rehoming a dog it compares very favourably when you look at other charities, the Dogs Trust, for example. It's very competitive. I think of the £600, I think it's got to be shared. I think the owner ultimately has responsibility for a greyhound when it retires, and therefore the burden must fall predominantly to the owner. But I think there's a role for other stakeholders too, and all our tracks, I'm pleased to say now, play their part to some degree. Some take money out of their bottom line and actually fund a certain number of dogs in rehoming kennels, but every track as a minimum encourages fundraising activities and hosts those activities. And as we saw at Walthamstow before it shut, they can raise £10,000 to £20,000 in one evening, so they're an essential part of the overall picture.
Donations are always well received, but retired greyhound ranges like Barley Kennels also rely on the help of volunteers and sponsors. One such sponsor is Colin Petrie, an owner at the Stow with the late Gary Baggs.
I don't think you could have asked for a nicer setting in this, and the volunteers and the helpers and the people connected with the kennels, friends of the kennels, have done a superb job, and without their support it wouldn't have happened.
Of course, you're one of the volunteers. You obviously enjoy your time here.
Yeah, well, I like doing a bit of painting and decorating, and I scrape the gates down and clear up bits and pieces. So if there's anything needing done, there's always volunteers that will come forward and keep the place. We've painted it from start to finish since we took the kennel over, and it's looking pretty slick now.
Barley Kennels are run on a day-to-day basis by Joy Batley, a lady with a lifetime in the sport.
I've been in sport all my life, really. Started off at Portsmouth many years ago, I won't tell you how many. Then I worked in Wembley Racing Office for 13 years until that closed. And then when that closed, Frank Melville offered me a job at the NGRC head office, which I did for 3 years. And then Barrie and Debbie Clegg approached me to do the Walthamstow homing. And as it was an area that I really sort of was keen on, I came to do this.
And you were familiar with his kennels from Mick Pusey's racing days as well?
Yes, yes. Mick Pusey and my sister, his wife, run this kennel for many years, and I help them out quite often.
A bit of a change from last time I was here when talking to Mick. You spruced the place up a bit.
Yeah, mainly because it's a different kind of need to a racing kennel. We need the areas for the public. It needs to be all nice for them to see and safe for them to come in. And it's just a different need to a racing kennel. That's why we've had to do various things.
Now, when you were first approached to take on the kennel manager duties, that was a big challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was completely different. I remember Frank Melville saying to me I might regret it, but no, I don't. It's a lot of hard work, but it's a lot more enjoyable than working in an office.
A small percentage of dogs like Ryan here can never settle and be homed. He'll stay at the kennels and needs a sponsor, while Molly here is getting ready to meet her new owners, as is Junior, who, like a number of others, will be moving on as soon as a new home is found.
Can you see a time when every dog that is able to be homed will be homed?
I really hope so. I think we're making a lot of progress. We've doubled the number being rehomed in 5 years. I see no reason why, if the number of greyhounds retiring is reduced due to safer tracks, fewer injuries, then we can't rehome all but the very small percentage of dogs that are temperamentally unsuitable for rehoming. That's got to be the ultimate goal.
In the last 6 years or so, we have rehomed 1,100 dogs from our two kennels. This kennel facility here and the one up the road run successfully by Johanna Burma for many, many years. And both kennels have done a great job.
Of course, looking ahead to the future, Barry, I'm sure hopefully you'll be homing more retired greyhounds from Walthamstow soon.
Absolutely. That's the wish. I mean, anybody would know I'd love Walthamstow to reopen, and I would love this to be the facility to rehome Walthamstow's dogs in many years to come, and I think it will be.
Don't know if you're a gambling man, Barry, but what are the odds then?
Shades of odds on, and I am a gambling man.
So looking at what's happened behind you and obviously what's happened over the last 12 months, £75,000 well spent.
Very much so, very much so. I think it's probably it's a real credit to the industry and a credit to everyone involved, and it shows that the vast majority of people in the sport do care about their dogs, both whilst they're racing and while they retire.